Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Magic. This is Molly Mandelberg, your host. I'm very excited to have this conversation we're about to have today because one of the missing pieces for entrepreneurs, one of the key ingredients that most of us overlook and do not do is following up. It's following up after you meet someone. It's following up after you have a consultation or a conversation with someone. It's following up even after you've done work with someone and you want to know, do they want to keep working? Do they want to go deeper? Do they want to take the next step with you? And I think most of us shy away from that because we're afraid that will bother them, when most of the time, if we do it from a heart-centered place, people are actually really grateful that we check back in. They're really grateful to feel connected, to feel supported, and to feel held in that way. And I have an expert on this topic. It's not just about mastering technology. It's not just about brand or messaging. It's not just about making more money. It's about showing up in a big way so your people can find you. This is about bringing your most wild and authentic self into the hustle and grind. Welcome to Tactical Magic, a business strategies podcast for the warrior goddess entrepreneur. With me here today, who has been on the Tactical Magic show before, if you've listened forever. I think we had Debbie on a couple years ago, but she has more wisdom to share, and I'm very excited to share that with you. So Debbie Hoffman is a heart-centered sales and follow-up expert, speaker, and founder of Power Up Your Follow-Up. She works with relationship-driven entrepreneurs, coaches, and network marketers who are letting potential clients and income slip through the cracks because they don't have a reliable follow-up system in place. Her proven step-by-step feminine formula supports them to have more ideal clients saying yes to working with them. After 20 years of working on Wall Street as a managing director with over $25 billion in sales, Debbie took her organizational skills and an extraordinary ability to connect with people and created multiple six-figure businesses. She's also a best-selling author, has a book highlighting her proven follow-up system, which is due out this year. And her mission is to support entrepreneurs to share their gifts and get their message out in a big way so they can create the impact they're here to make. Welcome to the show, Debbie.
I'm so happy to be here again. It's been a long time. So much has shifted in sales and follow-up since then.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the world in general is a much different place than the last time we spoke, which I imagine is just more reason why learning how to follow up and being really good at it is more vital than ever.
Exactly, because people have been so isolated. I mean, where things are loosening up now, but people were so isolated, so lonely that picking up the phone and calling someone to follow up with them meant so much to them. And like you said early on, people thanked me every single time. They were so appreciative that I actually called instead of just emailed, which is what most people do. As you know, our inboxes get overloaded and people aren't seeing those emails, and you're missing opportunities to connect with people.
Yeah, I'll say also, having grown my list a lot in the last few years, that even if you send a personal email to someone, if they've been on your list for a while, they might not even get that in their inbox anymore. The promo folder is like the bane of our business owners' existence nowadays. So you can't really count on an email the way you used to. So let's just dig into that one point for a second. Calling people on the phone. Some people have a lot of stories about that. What's your sort of point of view on making a phone call? And also, what's your point of view on the people who are actually just afraid to get on the phone and call people?
Okay, great question. So I'm an old-fashioned girl, and I believe that the best way to connect with people is by picking up the phone and calling them. Because like I just said, well, number one, it shows that you really care about them, because it's a lot easier to just send a text or an email or a social media message, but to actually call somebody rises you up in their, like on their radar screen. Like, wow, like Molly called me. She really cares about me. She's really serious about her business. She's really passionate about what she has to offer, and she wants to talk to me. They feel so honored. Like when I call people, people feel like so taken care of, and so like they think it's so amazing, because most people don't follow up that way. Most people will send an email. And emails are great, but not as the solo strategy. It's like one part of the strategy. So I'll call somebody, I'll text them, and I'll email them. So I totally, when I coach my clients, it's like call first, and then texting is fabulous because people will respond super quick. They won't always call you back right away, but 99% of people who I text respond. It's amazing and it's wonderful. And then we'll get on a call later. So yes, I just believe that that's the way to go. And if people are afraid, like you mentioned earlier, people make up stories. Oh, I don't want to bother them, or, another big thing is I don't know what to say. So I'm not even going to call people because I don't want to come across pushy and salesy. So I'm just not going to call. So I just want to help your audience to have a mindset shift around calling people and following up in general, because follow-up is all about building relationships. And when you're consistently following up with people and you're calling them, you're going to create that deeper connection and that trust. And they're going to want to either work with you if you're a good fit for them, or to refer you to people who would be. And so people are not saying to me, you're being pushy and salesy because you're calling me. They're saying the exact opposite. So I really want to stress that point, because I want your people to know that people love it when you follow up with them, and especially when you call.
And that there are ways to do that are in integrity. There are ways to do that where it is a contribution in that person's world. It's funny that we're having this conversation right now, because I just got back from having brunch with a very dear friend and business bestie of mine. And she was mentioning how she had interacted with some person as part of their summit, and then whatever, that person was like very much trying to make her a client. And so they kept calling, but it wasn't them calling, it was their virtual assistant team calling her. And they called her so many times that finally she was like, I can't even be in this relationship anymore. So tell us a little bit about doing it from a place of integrity. And like you said, what do I say? I know you teach people all about what to say on those things, but what are the good ways to do it?
Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. So it's not enough to just call people. You have to let go of your agenda and let go of your attachment to results, and to show up in service, and to do it, like you said, in integrity, and do it in a way that feels authentic to you. Because the reason why so many heart-centered entrepreneurs struggle with sales and follow-up, and I teach the whole sales process. Follow-up is a critical part of the sales process. If you're not following up, you're not going to have that enrollment conversation, that sales conversation, or it's going to be a lot harder to get into that moment where you're having that conversation. But when you follow up and call people, to show up in service to them, to be curious, to ask questions, to be a great listener, and to see if you can support them. And it might not be to support them as, a client. It could be that they could be a great partner for you to collaborate with, or a great referral source, or they might know other people to refer to you that you can partner up with. Like, there's so many things that can come out of the conversation, but the key thing is to let go of the attachment to the results, and to show up in service. Come from the feminine. Like, we all have that masculine and feminine side to us, and the masculine is where we get stuff done, but the feminine is where we connect. And we want to show up and coming more from the heart, so that people really feel that we care about them. And like I said, it needs to be authentic. In terms of what to say, I have 100 plus templates and scripts that I share with my clients. And again, if you're showing up in service and finding out what's going on with them, finding out what they need, and letting go of your attachment, that's the key thing. And also what I really teach is, when you network, is to not go to looking for your clients, go looking for your partners, so that when you reach out to have a conversation with them and to meet with them on Zoom, virtually, or in person, it's to learn about each other's businesses, to see if and how you can support each other. So that takes away all the pushy, salesy stuff. Like, my clients are like, I can do that. I can show even people that hate networking because they don't like the pressure of having to go to find clients. I don't teach that. Just go looking for those people to partner up with. And if the person's interested, they're going to naturally just lean in and want to talk to you about how you could support them.
Super valuable. I think I said this last time, is there's always room for growth on this. It's like, if you think you're doing a good job of reconnecting with people, how organized are you? I was flipping through, I keep one notebook that's just my notes from consultations, which I highly recommend to anybody who does consultations. Take amazing notes, because that book is going to be full of marketing gold when you have the language of what your people are looking for, what they're challenged with, what they already have set up. Yeah. It's just such good information. But back to the point was, I was flipping through there, and there were a couple where it said, follow up with this person in March, or follow up with this person in February. And I hadn't yet. And I was like, oh my God, I have to make these phone calls. So I real quick made some phone calls to catch up on that. But you have to have a system in place to not drop the ball on this stuff, because the busier your business gets, the busier you get as a facilitator, as a coach, as a guide for your people, the more these kinds of things are just going to slip through the cracks. So what are some of the best ways for people to stay on top of the ball like that?
Great question. So what I do when I'm doing my discovery sessions with people, I do it all online. So I have a Google Doc open and I'm taking my notes there. That just works best for me. Some people want to do it handwritten, but then you got to transfer it into a system so it can add extra time to the process. So I do it there. If they're not a yes at the end of the call, I'll ask them, like sometimes they'll say they need to think about or they need to talk to somebody, they need to figure out the money, whatever they say they need to do. I ask them, when will they have a chance to do that thing? And then we can reconnect. And then they tell me, and I always ask for permission. So that way, when you're asking for permission, you'll never feel salesy or pushy again. My clients tell me like they're so relieved that they don't feel salesy and pushy anymore because they're always asking for permission, like every step of the way. Mm-hmm. So I always ask, would you like me to check back in with you after you've had a chance to do this thing? And they say yes, and we get it on the calendar. And so it's done, so we know when we're going to reconnect. Now, if it's not an immediate thing and they say, well, I'd love, I'm interested in working with you, but not now. Why don't you, get back in touch with me in 2 months? So as soon as I get off the call with them, I enter it into my CRM as a reminder, and it pops up and reminds me. So that, because you can't keep track of all the stuff in your head. Like you were saying, you went through the book and thank God you saw, oh my God, I'm supposed to be following up with these people now. Yeah. And I didn't, right? So that's what you want to do. Just set it in the CRM so it's automatic, because the more people you're talking to and following up with, the harder it is to keep track of all this stuff. So it has to be automated.
Yeah, automate it. And a CRM is a client relation management software tool. What's your favorite one? What's your go-to?
So it's not that I have a favorite. It depends. I've vetted several to make it easy for people, and I have a resource tab on my website. There's some that I've vetted that are super simple, super affordable for a person who's just getting like started and they're overwhelmed by, oh my God, it's going to be so challenging for me. Yeah. So there's a few in there that I recommend. And then for people who are kind of like where we are, where we've got, lots of things going on and we're following up with a lot of people, I use Infusionsoft. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a bear, but I'm stuck. And so I'm in it for life. It would be too much to change. So there's lots of different ones. I just always need to have the conversation with people. Where are they at in their business? What are they going to use it for? Where do they think they're going in their business, and help them find one. A really great one is Active Campaign for the CRM and the email marketing system. It's super affordable. So I'm getting a lot of my clients started on that, and they're really liking it.
Awesome. Those are both also email autoresponder systems. So you can keep your email list in there. That's where you send your newsletter and things from. Right. And some of them also have the CRM functionality. The autoresponder and the CRM are different functionalities, but some softwares do them both in one place. Yeah.
A lot of times when I ask people if they have a CRM, they say, oh yeah, I use Aweber. That's not a CRM. That's an email marketing system. Yeah. And you can't follow up with somebody, even constant contact, one at a time. So those are just email marketing systems where you're sending out emails to, huge groups of people, but you can't do the one-off follow-up and keep track and have notes like we were talking about in those CRM. So it's the best thing is to get one system that has both in it, but it's hard to find one that's affordable that has both. That's why I've done some research and I have some good ones on my site.
Yeah, because even Active Campaign, which I use Active Campaign, it's a lot more per month or per year to add the CRM functionality.
Yeah, and as you grow and have more people on your list, the rate goes up.
Cool. So Power Up Your Follow-Up is an event you have coming up soon. What's it about? Who's it for? How's it go?
It's a masterclass, 3 crucial mistakes that entrepreneurs make that cost them time and money, and what to do about it. Mm-hmm. So during this masterclass, I'm going to go deeper into some of the things we've already talked about, but I'm going to share the 3 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make that really trip them up. Because sales and follow-up is the missing piece for so many entrepreneurs. They just don't spend the time on it. They resist it. They avoid it at all costs. So I'm going to just be highlighting what those areas are and giving you some steps you can implement right away to deal with those mistakes that you might be making. So it's coming up soon. I'm really excited about it. And I'll be answering questions at the end and just doing some coaching. So it's going to be very interactive throughout.
I love that. Yeah, you give people a chance to actually make use of it and then ask their questions, because there's always so many questions about this kind of stuff. And I will say, having spent a year or so in my business before I had mentorship, before I had support or guidance, before I started really investing in programs that could support me to do things I didn't know how to do. Mind bender at first to say, you know what, I need help with this.
Yeah.
And to like learn how to realize that there's a wall happening in your business. There's a barrier to growth, and that it might be you getting out of the way and allowing someone else to support you, or allowing someone else to guide you through something that you don't know how to do. And yes, we can learn anything on YouTube these days, but to get insights from somebody who's been there before and who is an expert in their field and who knows the ins and outs of what you're going to come across before you even get there, it's an invaluable thing to choose to have mentorship and to actually invest in learning something deeper than YouTube will take you.
For sure.
Yeah. And actually be able to ask questions of someone who understands the kind of business that you're running and can actually support you to make those small pivots that lead to like exponential growth in the future. So I think it's super important to dig into these kinds of things. I know, especially during 2020, everybody was signing up for webinars. People were like the learning online thing was like booming. And then people got burnt out on Zoom. They got burnt out on showing up to calls. We kept signing up for webinars and saying we'd watch the replay and then never going and doing it.
Right.
But when it comes to your business, when it comes to sharing your passion with the world, be ruthless in your thirst for knowledge, in your like productivity and implementation of things that you're learning, because it makes a huge difference in your ability to live the life that you want to live.
And there's so many stories that people make up and so many limiting beliefs when it comes to sales and follow-up. Like so many people, my friend Ann Hessian talks about sales, like people are allergic to sales, and they are, right? They just don't want to do it. And if you don't have a system in place to follow up and to enroll your ideal clients, you're going to be the best kept secret, and you're not going to make the impact that you're here to make. You're not going to be able to reach enough people. And so this is the critical piece. Without it, it's going to be so much more challenging to create, consistent results in your business and to be enrolling clients on a consistent basis. So the thing that makes me unique, Molly, is that, like I mentioned before, my whole approach comes from a heart-centered place. So all of the heart-centered entrepreneurs, the spiritual entrepreneurs, the people who are doing, healing work and whatever they're doing, they can do this in a way that feels authentic to them, that resonates with them, that feels good, where they know that they're showing up in service. So the male, pushy, aggressive, salesy approach just doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked for years. And there's still people out there showing up that way, but that's not what I teach. So people just feel really comfortable when they have an approach like this that's in alignment with who they really are.
Yeah. And I think it's easy, especially as us heart-centered entrepreneurs and, sensitive healer types, that we want to say it's not about the money. It's not about making sales. It's not about enrolling people. Like, my people will find me. And yes, your people will find you, especially when your magnets are on. But when you begin being able to broadcast your message out to the world and call in the people who are maybe on the fence, or who are maybe like not quite sure yet, and they need encouragement to make that leap and choose that transformation in their lives, you're the only one who can be that beacon for your business in that way, who can actually guide people to you and encourage them to choose that growth path. And some people need to be encouraged. And to do that in a heart-centered way, and to learn how to do that in a repeatable heart-centered way, is
and they need to be asked. Like, they're waiting for you to ask them. And I really believe a couple things. One thing I wanted to comment on was you said magnets. So what I talk about, I use that term a lot, that we become when more confident we are, when we're more confident, we put out an energy that becomes magnetic. Like, we just attract more people to us. They know. Like, one of my clients just yesterday, my mastery program, she just said, when you share what you do, there's like that you provide value. Like, there's no emotional baggage or anything that comes up. And she's, working through her stuff right now. And it's true. When you are so confident that you provide value and you can help people, you'll become that magnet for people. And it's just huge. And then you said something else I wanted to comment on, and it's gone, but hopefully it will come back. But It was the about making a difference, getting your word out. Yeah, I can't remember right now what it was.
That's okay. Awesome. So you have this master class is coming up in April, right? Right.
Yes, April. It's April 11th and 12th. I'm doing 2 of them. And then it's going to lead into a free group coaching call. So you can all come on for 90 minutes with whatever questions you have about sales and follow-up. And I'll just pour into you for 90 minutes. So I love doing that. They're really fun calls. And you meet some incredible people. Folks have ended up, collaborating and like meeting great people just through the free coaching call.
Yeah.
Because there's chatting going on and people are like, we need to connect. And it's really fun, really awesome. I love doing that.
Yeah, you are a great connector of people too, Debbie. I will say you're very good at making, people just connect who need to connect and being.
Love to do that. And that's something to really talk about too, real quick, is that when we become a connector for people, they want to do anything they possibly can to support you. People are not only looking for clients, they're looking for referrals to those partners, those people who they can, JV partner with or power partner with, wherever you're at in your business. There's always collaboration going on. I find so many entrepreneurs are soloing it. They're just going solo and they're trying to promote their masterclasses and promote everything on their own. And this is such a new concept for them. But we need to follow up when we give those referrals, right? So if I refer somebody to you and they're not following up with you and getting in touch with you, it's going to make me look bad, right? So there are follow-up systems for even when we give referrals, right? Because especially if it's a referral to somebody to be a client of that person, if that person isn't following up, I'm going to find somebody else to refer because it's going to make me look bad. I don't want to refer folks that aren't going to follow up with the people I refer to them. So that's a whole other conversation, but it's important to be aware of that.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to mention is if you're out there promoting everything yourself, it may be time to look at who are your referral partners.
Right.
Are you following up with them? Debbie and I are referral partners, and we just realized we hadn't talked in quite some time. And it's like, we both need to follow up on that.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes personal stuff gets in the way. And, so here's another thing. When I have coffee meetings with people virtually, my partners, this relates to what we were talking about earlier. I always make the appointment for the next time to connect so that this doesn't happen. So I don't know what happened with us, but look, we're human, right? I'm human. I make mistakes too. And things slip through the cracks once in a while. Yeah. I'm not perfect. But when I do, so whenever there's a good connection and it's somebody I want to partner with that I think I can support them and they can support me, we make the appointment for the next call. I just got off a call earlier and we did that. I gave her my link. She's going to get on and we're going to reconnect in a couple months. So that way you keep the connection going because it's like out of sight, out of mind because we get busy, we forget. And when I'm getting back with people every month or two, it keeps them top of mind. It's like, oh, I've got somebody to refer to you. I just met this person who would be a great partner for you, or this person could be a great client. So when I see people on Zoom, it's like, oh, like it gets me thinking and it reminds me. And so it's really important for us to provide value to people in all different ways as entrepreneurs. And thank you for sharing that. A friend of mine just said that to me yesterday. She said, Debbie, you're such a great connector. I love connecting people with each other. I love to help people and support them. Yeah. That's what we're all here for. That's what I feel we're all here on this planet to do is help each other and support each other and, show people we really care about them. Yeah. And that goes for your clients, potential clients, and for your potential partners.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great message. I think this is super timely and valuable. And hopefully people are out there making a list of who it is they've been meaning to call or needing to follow up with. It also is true outside of business in your life. Like, who's that friend that you keep thinking about? And have you reached out to them? And have you called instead of texted? Like, there are a couple of friends that, some of my best friends who we text often, but there's a couple of times a year where we actually call and like drop in and have a long phone conversation. I drive around the country a lot, so I'm calling my friends a lot of the time just to chat. But yeah, we don't know what's going on in someone's world, and actually being willing to take time out of your day to connect and see how they're doing the way you would with a friend, and do it with your friends too. It's a really valuable thing to do. And
follow up is follow up. And if you're good at following up in your business, like I find that I'm just what you're talking about. I'm the one mostly that follows up with my friends. I'm the one because I want to be in contact with them, and I don't make up any stories. It's like, oh, they should be calling me, or I'm the one always calling them. Like, I don't go there. It's like, if I want to talk to them, I'll call them and they're always happy to hear from me. But yeah, it's like when you have this muscle built up, it will come in handy in any part of your business. It's not just for business. It's really showing people you care. When you call people versus, when I have people on my birthday text me, like, I appreciate it. But when people call me,
Yeah.
it makes such a difference. That human connection is what we're all craving more than ever, especially going through what we did the last couple of years. Like, we are craving human connection, and just to know that somebody cares about us and they're thinking about us.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference. So if any of you who are listening have been, hesitating because of the sales, you're afraid of being salesy or pushy, just know you can follow up in a way that's building connection, that's creating value for people, as opposed to being salesy and pushy. Like, it is possible. You just, need to know what to say and do and how often to follow up. And, that's what I work with my clients on, how to do all that.
Yeah. You don't have to do it alone. There are templates and scripts masterfully crafted to support you in that. So you probably noticed, I love Debbie Hoffman. I think she is brilliant and she's doing great work in the world. So I highly recommend, if anyone's listening to this and thinking, you know what, I do want those templates, I do want to know more, I'd like to be shown my blind spots in my business and guided to navigate them and be aware of them and overcome those blind spots so that they can be part of my, awareness and action plan moving forward. So there's a link in the show notes of this episode if you want to check out Debbie's masterclass. Highly, highly recommend doing that and getting in on that coaching call for 90 minutes and getting your questions answered. That sounds amazing.
And I'm going to be offering one of my clients' favorite scripts at the end of the master classes. So if you stay on till the end, you'll get one of my juicy scripts. I want to share something too, because a lot of times people have issues around scripts. I don't like scripts. I don't want to sound like a robot. So I just want you to know that it's a roadmap. These scripts are in my language. It's what I feel comfortable saying. You always need to make it authentic to you. I never say to people, you need to use these exact words, because if it doesn't sound like something that would come out of your mouth, it won't be authentic and people will feel it. Yes. So it's just a roadmap to guide you. And I never recommend you reading anything when you call people, because they'll know. I mean, just think of the people, the telemarketers I call. They're reading from a script and I check out the second they start talking. It's like, I got to go. You got me at a bad time. Like, I don't want to go there. Right. Yeah. So we need to be natural. It's just to help us so that we, it guides us like a roadmap. It just guides us so we know where we're going.
Our mutual friend, Jessie Corin, says the template is guide, not God.
Oh, love it. Love it. That's a Jessie-ism.
Jessie-ism for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie, for being on the show. And I hope that people come and check out the masterclass and get access to that script. That sounds like a great offering. I want to say thank you, everybody out there, for listening. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, rate, review. Also, you can find us on Instagram, wild_1_rising, and shoot me a message. Let me know you're listening to the show and that you enjoy it. And let me know if you go check out Debbie's masterclass, because I like to hear how that went too. Any last words of wisdom you want to leave people with, Debbie?
Just that, you have a gift. Oh, I just remembered what it was that I forgot to say before. So this is perfect.
Great.
So you all have a gift to share. And I really believe that we have a moral obligation to reach out to people and follow up with them. If we know that they're struggling with something that we can support them with, it's our obligation to reach out, because if we don't, they could continue to struggle with that thing that we could support them with. It's up to them to decide yes or no. Again, let go of the attachments to the attachment to the results, and then your energy will be more pure and your heart will come through, and then just leave it up to them. But make sure that you're doing that. And that's the way you're going to make the biggest impact here. So if you know the work that you do, like you know that the work you do makes a difference, please, whether it's through me or someone else, get support with your sales processes and your follow-up, so that you know that you comfortably and confidently can invite people to work with you, and you have that process to get them to that point where you're having that conversation, because people need what you have. And so we need you to be more visible and get out there. So thanks so much for having me, Molly.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. And thanks for that great advice. I love it. We'll be back next week for another episode of Tactical Magic. Whatever happens, keep asking big questions and taking bold action because you're here for a reason.